Hey, so I'm doing another tutorial, and this time on how to convert hair from Sims 2 to Sims 3, and I'm going to use this one by Peggy. I've checked if it had been converted before, and it hasn't, and I like it, so this will be the example I'm going to use to show you. So what you need is Sims 3 PE. No, Sims PE, that's the one for Sims 2, because you need to open a package of the Sims 2 hair, and it will appear like this, but you can't use this because it's for Sims 3, and Sims 2 it won't open, and you need the mesh and then the lightest color of hair you can find, and with this one it was blonde, and that's gonna work just fine for us. So you'll choose open with and then Sim PE, and it will open up like this. This is probably the hardest part of the whole tutorial, because you have to go to this geometric data container, and then, well, if you're doing it for adults, then of course you need to choose AF, which means adult female, and then you have to go in the groups tab here, and you see they all have the same name, and if you export them, then in Milkshape they will have the same name. They will be a group, a whole group, and then it won't be hard. It will be hard to change all the fit it on a Sims 3 head. So you're just gonna. I always change just the number. It's easiest, and then it'll work just fine. The hardest part about this is just to not forget it, 'cause if you do, then, well, it'll be hard to work with the mesh and Milkshape, and you have to go back to this again. So after you've done that, you go back to this one, then click on all the groups here, because you need them all. Tick them all, tick tick, and then you click export, and you lead it to your folder, name it mesh, and first part is done. Was?
Ich habe mich jetzt entschieden, ich will die blaue Sternlichterkette haben. Passt die Lichterkette? Wie groß ist der Kringel für Oma? Oma Claudia.
Klein.
Wenn man
And then you have exported the mesh, and then you'll close it. I would save it, so if you have to go back, if you screwed it up, you still have all the groups changed, and it's gonna be easier. Then you open the retexture package with Sim PE again, and this isn't that easy either, because you'll have more than one texture, and sometimes you won't know which one you'll actually have to choose. And I think, easy set, we're gonna take this one, because it's gray and that's easier to work with than the blonde one. I don't know why it's included in this, but good for us, I think. So, and then you go in Milkshape. Now we're gonna start to shape the mesh onto the head of a Sims 3 person. Looks nice, doesn't it? Sorry. So you see you have all the groups here. What I'm doing is selecting them and applying the texture to look to just have a look at it, and I think it's easier to work that way because you'll see with the texture how the hair looks when you shape it, and I like that better. So you go on New, Assign, and then None, then to the folder with your texture, which is this one. You apply it, and then you have the hair with the texture, and it's nicer, I think. I like it better that way. You see, it's so, and then you will, and that's just as a guide, as a help guide, you will import a face and a scalp. And you see what has to be done with the hair. I think I have to, and that's a tip for those who just want to resize or reshape a hair that exists for Sim 3. You just go back, choosing all the hair parts, or in that case when you have Sim 3 hair, it's already just one group. Choose all those parts. It's a lot of work to choose all those parts. All of them. Sometimes you deselect one, hide it. This one. So now, because then you will move the whole hair or reshape the whole hair, and I think I want it to be a bit smaller and a bit lower on the head. And you can see here that it cuts into the cheek of the Sim, and there too. So it needs to be a little wider, but a bit lower on the head. So to just scale it down, you go on the scale tool and change the number to 0.98. That's pretty good. It's a small step, and then you can click it and see what happens. I never really know which one of those changes on which you'll have to try. So that's what I wanted. It's just a lot of small things you will work on, just so it has a nice look on the head of a Sims 3 Sim, because Sims 2 the heads are smaller. That's why you can just take something from Sims 2 and put it into Sims 3. It always needs some work done to it. So I like how that looks. And now the cheek problems. So that's when you want to make it bigger, I use 1.202 because that's always just a little step. And then we have the ears. What about I think okay. So, and then sometimes, or quite often really, you will have just one part, just a small thing that is bothering you, like the ear here, and then you will look for the group that covers that part, and you do it by clicking and declicking it just to see which one covers the ear. now you only have that left. And then, that's quite important, I think, you just leave the head first. You select the whole thing and then you click Ctrl and H, which makes the face unclickable. And then you can easily, or you can do that to random parts too, just select them, and you can easily just work on one part, which is the ear in here. Oh gosh. And you put them all back. Sometimes it may not be good the way you did it, but I like what I did here. Cover the ear. What you do next is saving the whole thing, because you don't want to have it screwed up after you've done so much for it. That's just gonna make you angry, and I don't think you want that. So, and then comes the rather easy part, the retexturing, that I always do before I do all the not hard stuff, but the boring stuff. So you have the texture that you got with the package, and you see it's a simple texture, and you can leave it like that if you want to, or you make your own texture on it. And you take a look if it's the right size that it has to be, which is this size. And it of course needs an alpha map, which you can do by selecting the whole hair strands and coloring it. White. And that's how it looks after you worked over it. Better, I think. And so we're deleting the face, selecting all the hair strands again, if you're stupid enough to deselect them like me. All of them, and then regroup, and then you have just one and not more than one group. And now, and I have all those things you need down in this description box. You need to put a comment for you guys in the box. I'm not sure why, but I think it's so the game knows what this is and how it works and all those things, and that's why you need it. And yeah, the next thing you need to do is you go and on Vertex Sims 3 extra data tool, then you put 255 and click to all, commit, save all. and you export it as a Gmesh Sim 3 geom exporter thingy here, and you call it level of detail 0. Then I always use the mesh tool by CMAR, I think. No, not sure. I always use the mesh toolkit by CMAR. And you go on Auto Tools for Geom, Auto Assign Bones. You select the fill you've just made, the hair, and then I will have that linked in the description. It's one reference for long hair and one reference for shorter hair. It depends on which hair you have, so shorter or longer hair. You put it in, and then you won't have to do the bone assignments. Sometimes, not often, you have to change some things about it because it didn't work quite well as it should have worked. Then, after you've done that, you have the first mesh, the one that will be mainly seen in game. Exciting, I know. So you do need all the other levels of detail, and I always just make one for the second and third, and then another one for the fourth one, because I think that's easier and it works the same way. It's simpler. And you click on the DirectX mesh tools, which you can find in the tools section, and it'll look like this, and then you push it to just the middle. So if you had 8,000 vertices faces here, you make half of it and you will have a black mess. And then you go on face, smooth all, and you will have this. And then you have to go back and do the same with the extra daughters again when you have it all selected. Dump me. 250 to all again. You will have another, you call it level of detail 1 plus 2. You will assign the bones again. If you don't do this and then you want to open your game and use the hair, then your game will crash. Happened to me quite often. It will crash. But don't worry, if you're testing a hair that you made, that you converted, that you, I don't know what, you can be sure that it's because of this. And for the last one, I'm just doing 1,000 ones or less, like 600, because you won't rarely see that in game, and it's okay for it to just be a mess. And the same, it's always the same steps. It's not hard, it's just a little complicated to not forget a step. And it's complicated to find out what step you forgot if you have a problem at the end. And do this again. And that's it in Milkshake. That's what you have to do in Milkshake. Now back to the textures, and I'm sorry for jumping the whole time. You will need to make a control. Control decides how you'll be able to change the colors in game, which is the feature of Sim 3. And I'll have that linked in the description as well. It should go with the flow of the hair, so if that's like this is fine. And if you've done that, you save it as a control. Then you need to make a spatula which decides how shiny or not shiny the hair is in the end. I always make it not shiny because I don't like shiny. If you do, you will make it lighter. I will make it pretty dark now, almost black like this. If you like it shiny, then you will do like this or even more. You can play around with that and test in game how you like it and decide which kind of style fits you the best. And now we're almost done, because now comes the part with the tool I use to bring my hair in games, which is the boops. Funny name, I know. And you will put your creator name, and then you will give the hair a name. Then you decide for which group it will be, and never put it on this one, because that's when the Sims burned, and that's not where you want it. And then you have to put the first, the second, which I always do twice, and that's that step done. Now the next one, spatula you made, the texture and the contour. Now you have those. I never use these because I'm not sure how, and those are pre-made textures that I use. You only need the codes, and I will have them linked in the description. You only need those, which I will have linked in the description, and I will show you how to use it. And if you have done this, you can go on next, generate, give the whole thing a name again. And if you don't get an error here, then you didn't do anything wrong that this program can show you. And that's it. Now you can test it in game. And well, now it's only you have to find the mistakes you made and flat them out, and until you've done that, you will be done, and you will have converted a hair or anything else. Thanks for listening. Bye.